this is Sankala, and I'm going to be doing my predictions for UFC 131, which is, of course, Dos Santos versus Carwin, which I think is a great main event. The other cool thing about this card is the fact that there aren't going to be any untelevised. There's no fights that you aren't going to be able to watch. So I'm going to cover, all of what I can see, starting with the preliminary card, which will be on Facebook and YouTube, I believe, as live stream. It starts off with Michihiro Omagawa, who is one of my favorite Japanese fighters. He's coming off a loss against Chad Mendes via decision. Chad Mendes is a very good Team Alpha fighter, while Daryl Atkins is coming off a submission armbar loss to Charles Oliveira, who is a good submission expert. I'm going to go with Omagawa here just because if you look at his record, you won't see much, but he is a very good fighter. He is a very talented fighter, and I think his experience is gonna play out in this one. Daryl Atkins has had a lot of low level fighters, but never really any high level. I mean, the highest level win he has is against Dwayne Ludwig, and that was via TKO injury. So the experience factor, I'm gonna give it to Omagawa, and I'm gonna say decision Omagawa. The next one is Joey Beltran versus Aaron Rosa. Joey Beltran is coming off a decision loss to Pat Berry, and then before that, a decision loss to Matt Mitrione. So he's definitely trying to not go, 0-3 in his last fight. Aaron Rosa is making his he is making his UFC debut. He's coming off a win over tough veteran Abe Wagner via submission rear naked choke, and then a decision over Devin Cole. No one I've ever heard of. His only person that I can see him fighting that was a high-profile fight was against Rafael Jay-Z Cavalcante. Oh, Falajo. Sorry. That's the guy who just lost the Strikeforce title to Dan Henderson. I don't know. This is a hard fight to call, but I'm gonna go Joey Beltran via decision just because he's been in the lights. Aaron Rosa hasn't really done well in the lights. And so yeah, I'm giving my edge decision to Joey Beltran. Dustin Poirier versus Jason Young. Dustin, if you don't remember, he spoiled Josh Grisby's title chances via decision against Jason Young, who I can't even look up right now. I would look up his share dog, but it would take too long. So I'm definitely going to go with Dustin Poirier on this one, and I'm going to say second round submission armbar. That's my call on that one. Then we have Nick Ring versus James Head. Nick Ring, if you don't remember him, he was on The Ultimate Fighter. He quit because he had some recurring knee injury. James Head is making his UFC debut. He is making his primetime debut. I mean, none of his other events he's been in have been really anything. I go off Wikipedia just because it's quicker, and none of the events he's fought in have any pages. Nick Ring is 11-0, coming off a win over Riki Fukuda. He was 2-0 on The Ultimate Fighter, so he is undefeated, and I am going to say Nick Ring via, let me see here. Let's see, James Head he seems to be a TKO in submission. Nick Ring is TKO in submission. So I'm going to go Nick Ring 29-28 decision. Then we move on to Krzysztof Szozinski, one of my personal favorite fighters, versus Mike Mazzino. Mike Mazzino is making his return to the UFC, replacing an injured Igor Pekryak, and he's making his light heavyweight debut. In his fights in the UFC before, he had a submission Kimura victory over Drew McFedries, but before that, a TKO loss to Sibe Dalloway at middleweight, and a submission triangle choke loss to Brian Stan at middleweight. So I'm definitely going to say Krzysztof Szozinski, I would say first round KO or TKO. Next we move on. Oh, sorry. I have allergies, like I've said before, and they're acting up a little bit. The preliminary card on Spike TV is Jesse with the best nickname I've seen for a while to go with the last name, Water Bongfeld. So, I gotta go with him. He's coming off his UFC debut, which was a draw against Rafael Natal, and it was ruled a majority draw, and I'm not. Let me check right now. Yeah, they just fought to a majority draw, which is very rare. I mean, in a 10-point must system, I'm not really quite sure how that happened. But Chris Wildman, the person he's fighting, is 5-0, coming off of his UFC debut, which was a decision win over Alessio Sakara, which means he's a pretty good fighter. He's undefeated, but I'm gonna go. Let's see. I'm going to go Jesse Bongfield, second round, rear naked choke. Then we move on to Sam Stout versus Eve Edwards. Eve Edwards is coming off of a technical submission rear naked choke over the Ultimate Fighter veteran Cody McKenzie. Eve Edwards, if you don't know him, he is 40-16-1. So this is a guy with experience. He's fought in just about every promotion, but Sam Stout is Sam Stout. I mean, this is going to be a war, and I'm going to say Sam Stout comes away with a unanimous decision victory, probably 29-28. Then we move on to the main card. Donald Cowboy Cerrone versus Vanger Rocha. Vanger Rocha is 6-1. His only loss comes to Brett Bergmark in Strikeforce. He's got 2 wins in Bellator, and he's making his UFC debut. Then we have Donald Cerrone, of course. If you don't know him from the WEC, he was WEC champion. He went for it a couple times. Let's see. He never actually won, but he never won the title, but he was in title contention for a long time. He's coming off his submission rear naked choke victory over Paul Kelly, and I'm going to say first round TKO for the Cowboy. Then we have John Olav Animo, who is a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. He is coming off of a 5-year layoff from MMA. So he's a very good ground specialist versus Dave Pee Wee Herman. You may know him best for. The only one I can really think of that a lot of people know him for is the fight versus Jim York, where Jim York went for a heel hook and Dave Herman knocked him out by just axe kicking him from the ground, it was a pretty funny knockout. But I'm gonna have to go John Olavanimo. I'm gonna say, let's see, what's he good at, John Olavanimo? For ground specialists, I'm seeing a lot of submission punches. So he's got some striking. So I'm going to say he's going to hurt him a little bit with some ground and pound in the first round. Then second round, he's going to come out and submit him with an armbar. So I'm going to go John Olavanimo, second round armbar. Then we have Damian Maia versus Mark Munoz, which I think is a fantastic matchup. I mean, both these guys are they're both trying to get, into title contention. They're both, looking for it. Damian already got his shot, but, he's bouncing back too. Damian's on a 2-fight win streak after the loss to Anderson Silva, and Mark Munoz is on a 2-fight win streak. So this is going to be a war. If it stands up, I see it going to Mark Munoz. If it goes to the ground, I see it going to Damian Maia. I'm going to go Mark Munoz, 29-28, unanimous decision. Just because I think he's a little too strong and Damian's a little too hesitant on his feet to get him down on the ground. I definitely don't think Mark Munoz is going to go for any ground and pound. I think he's going to stand and bang with him, and I think he's going to, definitely, we're going to see the Anderson Silva version of Damian Maia, just kind of not wanting to engage. He wants to be on the ground, and I don't see him coming away with a victory. I'm going to say 29-28, Mark Munoz. Then we have Kenny Florian's featherweight debut against Diego Nunes. Diego Nunez is trained by Jose Aldo. So this is basically Jose Aldo Jr. Oh wait, no, Jose Aldo is Jr. Mini Jose Aldo. He's coming off a split decision over Mike Brown. His only loss is a decision loss to LC Davis. The only thing I'm seeing here is in his big cards, he's going to decision. Kenny Florian, on the other hand, in his big cards, tends to end fights. And, the experience of being in the UFC, even with the weight cut, Kenny Florian wasn't a big guy to begin with. So I think this is Kenny's really natural weight class. So I'm going to go, I'll say, second round rear naked choke Kenny Florian. Then we come to the main card. This is going to be a bang-out war. Junior Dos Santos versus Shane Carwin. I am giving my edge to Junior Dos Santos just based on, he's that quiet guy that, you saw him on the show, he's a nice guy, he's nice and calm, and just, boy, is he a badass when he gets in that cage. Shane does have the wrestling, which may prove a problem for Junior, but we've never really seen Junior on the ground, and I definitely think Shane, after being on the ground and being submitted by Brock Lesnar, is definitely going to try and stand and bang with Junior, and I think Junior is going to try and stand and bang. So, I give my striking edge to Junior Dos Santos. I'm going to say second round TKO Junior Dos Santos. I don't think either of them are going to be able to knock the other one out. I think both of them are too tough to get knocked out, but I definitely see Junior TKOing Shane. I can see them getting in a war in the first round. Shane will probably hurt Junior. Junior will probably hurt Shane. But as it showed before, Shane, when he gets in that position where he's standing and banging and blowing his load, if he's going to get a little bit tired, and I don't think Junior Dos Santos is going to get tired at all. I think he's gonna pull through with the victory, and then we're going to see Junior versus Kane. So I'm going second round TKO Junior Dos Santos. So this is Senkala, and I'm out. And one last thing. Say hello to Kalula. I'm babysitting Gonzo's dog for the day. She'll be back later, but definitely go check out her blog. Her blog is, I believe it's www.gonzo666@blogspot.com. She has some weird name. You can find it on my blog. There's a link somewhere. But definitely, if you're into music, go check her out. She's very into music, and she's got some cool things going on. So check her out, and I'm out. Those were my predictions.